Welcome to another episode of the No Ceilings Podcast, coming to you on a Wednesday night, Thursday morning, depending on when you're listening. But I am Tyler Metcalf, joined as always by Tyler Rucker, mixing up the schedule a little bit this week, coming at you a little earlier in the week because we got two episodes this week. Because Summer League, there's so much that happened. We had to do multiple episodes. They were getting a little lengthy from us these last couple days or couple episodes. So, just we're going to split it up, have a little fun, react to Summer League. Rucker, how are we doing?
Doing good, Metcalf. It's a dangerous time of the year because summer league's over. So you try to fill the void. You also try not to get the itch too early to jump into next year, which is sometimes impossible. So you always got to remember to take your breaks and hit the reset button. But I really wanted to talk summer league with you. I thought there was a lot of fun stuff we wanted to talk about. And when you were like, hey, you want to do 2 episodes? I was like, yeah, of course I do. What else am I going to do this time of the year? So I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself, sir? How are we holding up?
Oh, hanging in there. Month from hell with work is come and gone, so we're in the clear a little bit. I don't remember if I put a shelving up. Look at me being an adult decorating my room, not looking like I'm in a prison cell anymore. NCAA 25 is taking up way too much of my time. Just incredible things are going on.
Is it fantastic?
So I haven't played a football game in about a decade. So basically pretty much since the last NCAA game. Holy crap, am I bad. It was an aggressive learning curve. So starting to figure it out. Arkansas State, top 10 ranked right now. So, things are trending in the right direction. It's fun though. Once you kind of get the hang of it, just kind of accept some of the defensive issues. It's a lot of fun.
I was pretty heartbroken because I got a nerd set up on my computer so I could have played it, and then I found out they weren't making it for PC, and I was like, oh gosh, I have to buy a new system. So working up the courage to have that conversation with the wife. I've already kind of slid the sales pitch, and she was upbeat about it. So I just know that was my childhood. Like college football was the game. Like everyone else, like all I would do is recruit people nonstop and play. And the wild card thing I would do, and I don't want to get too deep down this rabbit hole, I would create a guy, make him a stud, and then just throw him out as a recruit. And so like I'd have to like roll the dice of like I could get him to come commit, and then he wouldn't commit. And
it's always heartbreaking when they
brutal.
choose Alabama or Ohio State. Like, oh my god!
But I know they'll have a couple patches and stuff, so I'm being patient. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to pull the trigger. You'll have to tell me what system you have. Maybe that'll influence my decision, so we can just play online and talk draft while not being able to score.
I've always been a PS5 guy or a PlayStation guy. So that was my first system. Stayed loyal. I'm like that. So it's fun. It's a really good time. I haven't played online yet. I'm terrified too. I'm assuming that if I do I'm just going to turn it off, throw it away, and just never play video games again because I'm old and washed. But who's not old and washed are a bunch of the rookies in the NBA Summer League this year, and that's who we're running through today. So tomorrow we're going to talk about some of the returners, some of the veterans of the NBA Summer League. But today we are solely focused on the rookies and how we're going to do this. Just to try and provide a little bit of structure, we're just going to go team by team, and we're going in alphabetical order of the mascots. So first up, the Philadelphia 76ers. Notable names: Justin Edwards, Jared McCain, Adem Bona, Judah Mintz. Rucker, where do you want to start?
Okay, first of all, hold on a sec. One, that transfer you just had was an all-timer. I was like, oh my gosh. 2, the fact that you said we're going in alphabetical order by mascots just completely threw me off for the whole episode, and then started with 76ers. So
last time we did it by city, and
no, I like it. I
mix it up. I also didn't want to change my notes around. So
I like chaos. So this is fantastic.
It'll be really good when I have inevitably have some of these teams out of order. They'll be fine.
It'll be completely fine. Everyone will react properly. I like what the Sixers rookies showcased. We kind of talked in the Summer League preview about Jared McCain and Bona because they had the Salt Lake City Classic going on. I don't think McCain put up the performances at that same type of hype as previously, but I still thought there was flashes of he's just a gamer. He's
Yeah.
a stud. And I still like what I've seen from Bona. So I think they're kind of right on track. Justin Edwards also. I'm still intrigued. I need a little more, but I'm still intrigued. Where are you at?
Yeah, and McCain just kind of looked like himself. The off-ball shooting looks awesome, especially in transition. The rebounding translated immediately. Shocker. But I like how they kind of threw him more on ball a lot and had him running a lot of pick and rolls. Consistency wasn't always there, but you're looking for process. You're looking for, how are they thinking through and operating through this play? And some of the flashes with his playmaking, I really liked, and I think there's a lot of upside there. I still think long term, there's some more kind of true point guard stuff that he could trend towards. But at a minimum, I think there's going to be plenty there for him to be kind of like a second side creator where, broken play, swings to the opposite side, 10 seconds left. Now he's running an empty pick and roll, just out of, free flowing into the offense. And he can get you a good look, whether it's with himself in the mid range, at the rim, throwing a lob, dumping off to a roller, kicking out to shooters. I think there's a lot of real legitimate intrigue with him. But then Adem Bona, I thought, has been fantastic. I would highly recommend they stop playing zone with him because it completely neuters everything he's fantastic at on defense, and he's getting called for at least one defensive 3 seconds per game. So that's been an adjustment. But the energy, the rim protection, the rim running, I think it's going to translate for him very quickly and be a real help to the kind of depth in the front court for the 76ers going forward. He's going to have a billion fouls a game. But if he's only playing 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes a night, who cares?
He's going to be perfect for them. Like we talked about this, gosh, for like 2 years. Like early on with Bona, I just feel like he's such an asset to have as a backup big. And in those limited minutes, you can let him run wild. Like just, hey, let the beast out of the cage. Let him try to go block shots. Let him be an impactful force. He's going to do that. I think this is a class in which we're going to look back and be like, gosh, they 2 for 2. Like they just stole him. And Edwards could be your diamond in the rough that if you could just continue to build some confidence, you might have gotten a great undrafted guy too. McCain, I'm going to be interested to see how quickly he kind of can hit the ground running. I don't, we're going to overreact to Summer League. That's what everyone's here
Always.
for. That's what we do. But he just looks like a gamer to me. I think he's going to be one of those impactful pieces that you're just playing on the court despite the numbers, just because of the basketball IQ, the awareness, how he makes teammates better. Like there's a world in which him and Maxey, yes, a little undersized, but I think they could coexist and kind of play off of each other really, really well. So I think it's just a fantastic haul for the Sixers, and they're going to need guys to step up, especially with how much firepower they got. And Embiid, is a dominant force, but you're going to need some depth. And I think Bona's a good, kind of way to give him some run off the bench and let Embiid get some rest. And just think we're going to look back and say these guys turned out to be 2 heck of additions for the Sixers.
Real quick with Justin Edwards, you mentioned that he has kind of been intriguing, and it's hard to disagree. What I'm really struggling with is that he seems to be doing like all of the little stuff really well with some of his rebounding, transition scoring, team defensive stuff, where the stat lines aren't going to be astronomical, but how much of this can actually translate to the next level. And, given where, what his draft night looked like, it's probably, it's unrealistic to expect year one production from him. But are you viewing this as just kind of a really solid foundation for him to continue to build on long term? Or do you think that there's a legitimate chance that by year end, 8 months from now, that he's able to contribute these little things at an NBA level in at least limited minutes?
I think you're probably trying to double down on the Ricky Council experience. And they got Ricky last year, let him run wild in the G League. He looked we're going to talk about him probably tomorrow, but
Yeah.
looked good in the summer league. And I think you're hoping that, hey, maybe you can double down and get this with Edwards. Edwards, I think, is having a great foundation right now of just like, okay, you're doing the little things like Metcalf said. And can you unlock one skill? Like, can you just take a leap in one area to make it, all right, you do a lot of stuff good. Can you unlock one more thing to make it like, oh, maybe there's higher upside here? I've always felt like that was defensively. I think me and you have had that since seeing him at Hoop Summit. I was like, there's something there that could make him more of a beast. So it's gonna be something where I would love him to spend the year in the G League because he just needs confidence. Like I would love him to go down and it's like, ooh, Edwards had 25 tonight. Just get some
find
flowing.
the spot up jumper.
Yeah,
figure it out. Play simple. Build that confidence. Totally agree.
If he can become a consistent 3-and-D guy with all of a sudden things are coming together nicely, we're gonna be like, what the heck? Why did this guy go undrafted? I'm still shocked he went undrafted, but I get it. It's just it seems like we're hoping that everything kind of becomes average. And now that it's looking like a little bit more of that, I'm like, can it take that next step forward and we start to find some, consistency with the prospect we thought of before? And I think there is a path for that.
Yeah, and whenever we talk about the undrafted stuff, especially with someone with his caliber, it's like, was there some agency shenanigans going on there? He's a Philly kid, grew up there, so who knows? But I think long term, I'm liking what he's kind of building on, and I think he could be a guy where year 2 summer league could be like the game is really slowed down for you, and you look very different. All right, moving on to the Milwaukee Bucks. 2 names at the top here: AJ Johnson, Tyler Smith. Where do you want to
start? Do we have the AJ hour now, or do you want to start with Tyler Smith first?
I carved out 2.5 hours for AJ.
So that's why it's a 2-parter. Yeah. Let's talk about Smith. I didn't walk away with anything of Tyler Smith that I wasn't kind of walking into. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Like I was like, hey, it looks just like what I'm expecting. Another guy kind of, I don't mean this in a bad way. Another guy like Justin Edwards, where I'm like, you do a lot of stuff good. It's tough for guys like that to really pop at Summer League unless you're just red hot from outside. I think Tyler Smith's you're drafting to hopefully be the rotation plus asset. So I thought he looked fine, had ups, had his downs. See how he develops throughout the year. Probably going to spend some time in the G League, but
hopefully a lot.
Yeah, hopefully a lot, and that's fine. With a veteran team like that, you're hoping he can find a gear early, and all of a sudden you're shocked at like, oh, maybe he could help us down the stretch. But this is a young player that needs time, so I like that they got him in the second round. I think Summer League was just fine. Same thing with Justin Edwards. Second Summer League, maybe you're like, okay, we got something.
Yeah, and I thought Smith was a really smart swing for them to take, especially in the second. Why not? Someone that athletic, that big, who can shoot that well. In these games, his impact really relied on, is he shooting or is he not? And when he wasn't, is like, oh boy, like you are a no-show, because the defense he's 2 steps behind on everything, not really creating anything on ball. He rebounded well every game he played. But when he was on the floor and knocking down shots, it's like, okay, now we're feeling your impact. And, it's tough when you're that big and you have to shoot it to really be felt and really kind of make an impact on the game. But he's still super raw, long way to go. AJ Johnson looks incredible and feeling really good about having him top 15. Just, I know it's Summer League. I know I shouldn't be doing victory laps, but
yes, you should.
But just give me a minute while I go take one.
Let's put it this way: a guy that averaged less than 5 a game, if he's dropping 20 in Summer League and looks good, I think you can have a little mini victory lap.
Fantastic.
He looks awesome.
I still don't think for what it's worth, I still don't think he's going to contribute to the Bucks really in any meaningful way this year.
He shouldn't.
No.
Bucks fans were too harsh. Yes, you, Milwaukee Bucks fans, you guys were too harsh on that pick. There's a reason they took him in the first round.
I get it, because from their standpoint, it's like, we have one of the best players in the world right now. Why aren't we taking a guy who contribute to winning right away. It's like, well, probably because there isn't that guy at this point. Tyler Kolek there may have been interesting, but what that team didn't have was long-term athleticism in the backcourt with real creation stuff. And that's what AJ has. I think his defense has looked really good. His on-ball creation has looked really fun, really shifty, ton of scoring versatility, some really impressive playmaking stuff. And, obviously Doc Rivers he's not going to shit on their first round draft pick while he's being interviewed during their game. But there's a play that AJ had and Doc just like stopped mid-story and never plays rookies. And he's still super raw and still super light and needs to he needs to add 30 pounds. But man, the long-term upside with him is so much fun. And I think he's showing exactly why that's the type of guy you take a swing on in the first round and get that extra year on the contract.
I love the pick when they made it. It shocked me, but I loved the pick. It's easy for everyone to say, why didn't they get some more, like you said, like, why didn't they get some more veteran help? Why didn't you jump all over that? Their board might not have looked that way. Yeah. They might have had AJ much higher. They might have trusted their board. And I also think that was getting to the range where you're like, we're going to take a guy down that we're just not in love with because he might help right now? Or are we going to take someone that the upside is ridiculous? And I thought AJ, the game he had like 24 and 4 or whatever, his best game. He had a couple sequences where I was like, oh my goodness. Like he had a couple Euros, just the aggressiveness, some of the plays he made, shooting it from outside. Like this guy that barely played last year that looked like one of the best guys on the court at that time. He's looked fantastic summer. I think you should be ecstatic if you're Bucks fans. Now, pump the brakes because you're going to need to let that confidence build and double down. And he's going to a great place. He's going to have a great mentor. He's going to be able to see a lot of things quickly. And let's play a game of having some fun here. We're talking next year. AJ's just on the right path. All of a sudden, it looks like, oh gosh, they're going to unleash him. Am I crazy to think that he and Dame could play together?
Oh, I think he definitely could. He adds 15 pounds of muscle. I think he's tall enough and athletic enough where you can start him at the 2.
6'5", bouncy with driving ability, and then you have Dame to kick out to.
I think AJ's defense has been good. Like he's inviting contact. He's playing physical. He's not strong enough yet for it to really make an impact, but he's in position and he's working. And when he's off ball, he's trying to be really intentional about rotations and being in the right spot. You can just see him thinking through where he's supposed to be on every possession. And that we saw that with him when he was playing in the NBL for all 98 seconds a game that he got. And it's really easy when you have that inconsistent and uncertain of a role in a different country to just be like, what the fuck are we doing? And just kind of go through the motions. And he never did that last year. And that kind of combined with the athletic tools and the creation ability, so I was really encouraged about him and had him top 15 coming into the draft.
One more point?
Yeah.
Because you bring up a great thing there. This is why he went to the NBL, because he looked skinny, but he was initiating, he was handling contact. We talked about this, his scrimmages at the combine. I was like, he is welcoming the challenges, the contact, which comes from playing overseas in that league. Yes, he didn't play a ton there. He practiced with them. He was battling every day, and then when he did get on the court, he was not afraid. There was other guys that are thin-framed at Summer League that did not handle the contact well. Mm-hmm. He was thin-framed and welcomed it. He was challenged. So if you add muscle to him, let that body fill out, he's going to be a jerk on the court. Like, he's going to be a problem to deal with because he's just going to be like, bring it on. He's going to have bounce. He's going to have offensive weaponry, playmaking. And then as the defense goes to the next level, gosh, we're going to look back and be like, why the hell did he go this late? But it's just, I think it's a hat tip to AJ going to the NBL because it prepared him for that physicality. So am I saying he's going to be ready as a rookie? Probably not, but it looks like a great pick right now.
Yeah. I could not be more excited about his long-term fit. Again, I don't think he's going to do anything for them this year, but that's not why you draft guys. It's the vast majority of the time it's not. And when we kind of talk about that, I think it's going to be a really fascinating kind of case study 4 or 5 years from now, comparing the Nuggets and the Bucks, because the Nuggets have one of the best players in the world in Jokic, and they're trying to draft guys to fit in right away, and draft older guys, draft more experienced players that can slot in right away. And when we look at the Bucks, they have one of the best players in the world in Giannis, and they're taking big long-term home run swings. And guys like Beauchamp, Chris Livingston, AJ, Tyler Smith. I think 4 or 5 years from now, I think it's going to be really interesting to kind of see, just compare where both teams are at. But that's all I got on the Bucks.
No, I think it's always fun when you're a fan base to be like, hey, we should be contending. Let's take the guy that helps us now. But you also, a smart front office balances that equation of knowing, hey, we like this. We can swing a little bit because by year 3, my goodness, we might have something. And you got to be thinking like Middleton's getting up there. You got to find another weapon. You got to find another high upside caliber talent to groom. So I just love the pick. I don't want to go too long on that.
Okay, moving on to the Chicago Bulls. Talk to me about Modest Buzelis.
I thought he looked really, really good.
Yeah.
I thought he looked way better than the numbers would hint, and the numbers were still impressive, but I'm saying percentages...
percentages were bad.
Percentages were bad.
Assist to turnover stuff was bad.
But if you watch the film and don't watch the box scores...
Yes.
Those are two different stories with Buzelis.
Feel free to cut and paste that for every single prospect we talk about over the next 2 days.
Yes. So, I went back and watched Buzelis. Talk about a guy that looks comfortable taking on the contact. Like, it's the second half of the year, Buzelis with the Ignite, that you're starting to see that build. He's building off of that. Shot was falling sometimes, and you're like, this is the world where if this gets consistent, we're going to be dangerous. Threw down some dunks that I was like, how did you finish that? I forgot to write down the name. Someone on the Bulls summer league team threw the worst alley-oop pass I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was his back right shoulder after Buzelis had jumped, and he like caught it down and going up, threw down like a two-handed. I was like, whoever threw that pass, like, you need to stay after the game and just throw a pass to a wall.
It was terrible. Highlight that much more impressive.
It was terrible. It was a horrendous pass. So I just saw a lot of good stuff. I also saw some of the same improvement areas where it's some on-ball stuff where it just looks a little robotic still, but then there was also some smoother stuff. So we're trending in the right direction, and I thought it was a good summer league showing for Buzelis right out of the gate. Despite the percentages, I just thought it looks like a great piece for the Bulls.
Kind of similar to what we were talking about with AJ, with the mindset and the physicality and that willingness to be physical on both ends of the floor, even though the strength may not be there yet. Saw the exact same thing from Buzelis, where the first game he drew 1 billion fouls, but every single game he was really aggressive at getting downhill. He was physical on defense. He was rebounded well. He created a lot of contact around the rim. I was really, really impressed. The efficiency stuff, some of the shot still needs a lot of work. It's nowhere close to where it should be or needs to be. But once, this time next year, once he's added that 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, it wouldn't be totally shocking if we see him kind of come out of the gates like we saw from Jabari Smith last year, where he's bigger, he's stronger, he's even more confident, even though confidence doesn't really seem to be an issue for him right now. But once he's just that little bit stronger, I think those drives where he's initiating contact and, just throwing up a wild shot now more frequently become and one opportunities. And that's when the point totals really start to kind of continue to tick upwards. The passing is kind of non-existent right now, but there's really no one on this Bulls team to reliably and consistently kick out to. So he might be given the instruction of, hey, just go, just take what you see, get buckets, be aggressive. And it's working. So the numbers haven't always been fantastic in terms of an efficiency standpoint, but summer league, so who gives a fuck?
Right. Well said. He had someone pointed out in the chat. Shout out the YouTube chat. Someone pointed out it was Sebron, which is perfect. That threw that pass. I will say, Bazelis had a couple sequences that really got me like, whoa. He has, I call it the Luca, the drive, and then you just slam on the brakes and slowly
the
wait.
deceleration,
Yeah,
like Euro back stuff. Yeah,
and he had that, which I love because I was like, you're 6'10" doing that. If you could do that at 6'10", that's going to be a heck of a move to have. Um, he had a couple beautiful drives. You know what I loved about Bazelis at Summer League, Metcalf, is I can't stand when you're that tall and you can dunk and you don't just have the mentality of like, I'm going to ruin people's lives if they try to dunk. Yes, thank you. So he had a couple sequences where he was like, I'm going to try to NBA jam like on this dunk attempt. And he had a poster. I just love that mentality of like, thank you. 6'10" guy that's like, I'm going to dunk on you. Like, if you're really going to try, it's going to be bad intentions at the rim. So I like what I saw. I want more efficiency, but so far the test is passed. It'll come.
Cool. All right, let's move on to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think biggest standout, Jalen Tyson, put up some monster numbers. What did you like from Tyson?
Everything. You know, he just looks so damn good. It's pretty. I'm not gonna pat my own back. You know what it is, Metcalf? Have you ever had this where you write about a guy during the draft cycle and you like spotlight a part of the game you like, and then he does it in Summer League? And I was just like,
I mean, if you really want to circle back to AJ Johnson.
No, but I'm just saying you just kind of get proud of like, fuck yeah, I do that. So you had
that one.
I wrote about Jalen during the cycle, and it was one of those.
And where could listeners?
NoCeilingsNBA.com.
Yeah.
It's absolutely free. There's also paid content if you're a sicko. Thank you guys for the support. I wrote about him because it's the one guy, the more I watched in the year, he puzzled me, and then the more I watched, the more I became a fan. And it was like every time I was like, I'm buying in. Yeah, like give me more stock. And what I loved about his game was I called it's reactionary playmaking, where it's like he can be all in on trying to score until the last second, and he knows, oh, you're coming over, I can react right on a dime, split second, throw a dime to my teammate. He did that a couple times at Summer League, and I'm like, gosh, man, this kid can play. It's just great feel, great anticipation. I think the Cavs could have really stolen one, but I'm just so fascinated how it's going to look early on. Like, are they going to unleash him off the bench and just be like, let's give him touches?
I think so.
Is he going to have to figure it out like with a watered down role? Because he was great at Cal, but he also was like, here's the keys to the city, the castle, whatever you want to say. You have full control. So he looked great at Summer League, I thought.
Yeah, and it's hard to really argue against any of it. He just looked comfortable, and a lot of the times with some of these older prospects at Summer League, it's like, well, yeah, of course they look comfortable because they're the same age or 3 years older than. It's basically them just playing against a lot of college guys again who they're already older than. But it was different with him. It was a different level of comfort where it's like, okay, you're almost at the point where you might be too good to be playing in this game right now. So it wouldn't shock me if we really see him carve out a meaningful role off the bench next year. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what that team looks like in February, whether or not they make some moves, and how Tyson may fit into all of that, because he is super versatile on both ends of the floor, kind of that tweener size where you can play him at guard, you can play him on the wing. He's strong, he's physical, he's willing to do the dirty work, he's willing and capable of playing on ball. So it's like, how are you going to implement him and really maximize all of this? And when you kind of look at some of their wing depth and guys who can come in off the bench and do some of what like Karis LeVert did on the wing, they don't really have a ton of those guys. Imani hasn't really taken that jump yet. We'll talk about him tomorrow. But Tyson could be the guy who really jumps into that role. So I thought this was a great showing for him and a great audition for him to be like, hey, I deserve to play.
Yeah, I mean, he's not just a bucket getter, and he can get a bucket in a lot of ways. But he's also like, he makes teammates better. He gets teammates very easy shots, like very good wide open shots. So I think vets are going to love to play with him because he'll get him the ball. And, he almost had a 20-point triple-double at Summer League. It's ridiculous. Like, that, it's a very hard thing to do at Summer League. He rebounded well, and it's what you said. He's got that positional versatility and kind of advantage. If you're playing him at the 2, he's going to be a tall 2 with a playmaking ability and can put you on the post. I just think we could look back, and that's a redraft guy. It was a fantastic start, but I'm right there with you. See how it works with him early on, and maybe they make some moves. And Tyson, you got to get him on the floor as much as possible, but it's a good pick for them.
Totally agree. All right, moving on to the Celtics. I believe only rookie to really talk about is Baylor Sharman, unless I'm missing someone.
Anton Watson
as well. Talk to me about your new Celtics.
Baylor is funny because he had like the bad shooting stretch, which is like right after you get drafted, and I'm excited about you. You have the bad shooting stretch.
Especially for the guys who have like 35-foot range.
But you know what? It almost impressed me more. The playmaking, he still looked fantastic at times, even when the shot wasn't falling. He's just going to be great for them because he just, the shot wouldn't fall, and then all of a sudden he make a couple beautiful passes. You're like, whew. So I think defense will need to come around. That should probably take a sizable leap in training camp when he's going to battle each day. But I think just the IQ, the rebounding, he's going to be great. And then Watson, I think, just deserved a little bit of a nod. I thought he shocked me. He looked very, very good at Summer League. Probably going to be in Maine this year.
Has he earned any type of like two-way or anything, or no?
He got drafted.
Right.
But I don't think I don't think he's earned it. Maybe he's not official yet. He better be. Like he looks
think
like
he's going to get to a two-way.
He better be a two-way, and he should probably be maybe like end of the year at the end of the roster. He just looks like a great groom piece, like a smart. I'm not saying Taj Gibson-ish, but that type of player that you're like, we might be able to groom this guy to be a really nice, piece in the bench. He shot it a little bit better from outside than I was expecting. I thought he just had a really good summer.
Yeah, I was always kind of a little more skeptical on Watson this last year, looking like a guy that I overlooked.
Same.
But new family member and friend of the program, Mavs Draft, Richard Saman, was pushing that propaganda all year. So.
That's why we brought him on.
Yeah, exactly. So someone's got to know what they're talking about around here. All right, moving on to the Clippers. Biggest name, Max Christie. He kind of looked exactly how I expected him to. Shot looks great. He needs to get so much stronger. He looks so young out there. But again, kind of one of those long-term thinking moves. Similar philosophy as to what we talked about with the Bucks. Similar philosophy to how the Clippers tend to draft. So there's nothing there where I was like, oh no, Max or Cam. God, I'm gonna do it all the time. I'm gonna do it all the time.
It is a nightmare. I'm right. There was nothing that I was like, what I expected.
Yeah.
It's also funny when those guys shoot better from 3 than the field. I think he was in that category. Because you can just tell the shooters are very much comfortable shooting threes at Summer League. So he's just got to get stronger. But I still like the tools. He just got to get stronger.
I'm excited for your 2 Summer League with him. Okay, moving on to the Grizzlies. Unfortunately, no Zach Edey really in Vegas. He played a couple games before that, before he turned his ankle. Looked really good. We talked about him in the preview last week or 2 weeks ago. Go check that out. But I think 2 biggest names to talk about here, Cam Spencer, Jalen Wells, mainly Cam Spencer.
Yeah,
good play.
I love that spot for him. It's the classic, like, we always do this where we're talking ourselves out of a guy because they stayed in college and they're a little smaller, but I think is at a point where we need to weigh intangibles with the skill. Like, he was a deadly shooter with a psychotic mentality of competitiveness. I feel like that should have weighed enough to be like, we probably should take this guy in the second round. Like, he shoots high percentages. He looked awesome at Salt Lake City. I just think he's a gamer. I think the Grizzlies found one. And I think they're going to keep being like, is he really going to be ready? And then Spencer's just going to be like, what do you want me to do? You want me to shoot 45% from deep? Like, okay, let's go. And Gigi Jackson immediately, like before their first game, he did a pod and he's just like, that dude is an absolute dog. I was like, that carries a lot of weight for Gigi, a second-year guy feeling real good, to all of a sudden be like, whoa, like, he looked awesome. Grizzlies are going to be fun this year. They're going to be fun, Metcalf.
Yeah.
If Edie's healthy, they're going to be very fun. They're going to be nasty. You're going to be
if their entire team is healthy.
Yeah, if they stay healthy for one
If
year.
anyone on the team is healthy. God,
I'm still believing in
Ja last year. No, they're going to be really good. And he just bolsters the depth of that entire rotation. He just does the right thing on every possession, whether it's knocking down a shot, making a pass, attacking a closeout, dumping off to a big man, whatever it is. He's just always in the right spot, doing the right thing at the right time. Just incredible feel. So really looking like one of the steals and a perfect fit on that team. Yep. All right, moving on to the Atlanta Hawks. Zachary Risachet, Nikola Jurisic. I believe those are the two biggest names.
Talk to me about your boy.
Who's Risachet?
Yeah, talk to me about him. What'd you think?
He looked like he was in a setting that didn't fit his skill set at all. They kind of just let him go do it. Now, it sucks that both these guys got hurt pretty early, especially Jurisic breaking his foot. I thought he looked really good. We'll get to him. Sorry, I'm derailing.
Was it officially a break?
I believe so, or a fracture.
Fracture might be the word. Yep, which is also a scary word. Go ahead. Sorry.
And they kind of let Risachet create a bunch on ball, and it was a disaster because that's not who he is. That's not how he gets his shots. That's not how he gets his best looks. But Summer League's a place to try that. Now, when you put him on that's also one of the biggest reasons I was really bummed that Kobe Buffkin wasn't playing, because it would have been great to see Risachet playing off of him. But you have to imagine Risachet in more of that pure 3-and-D role, playing off of Trae Young pick and rolls. So I don't think we got any inkling of what Risachet will look like with the Hawks this year in the game and a half, 2 games that he played. But it was fine. Like I thought the off-ball scoring and off-ball offensive stuff still looked really good, like it did all year. So it's fine, but not, it's not the excitement that you want to be coming away with from the number 1 pick.
I get that point. I actually didn't think it was that bad. I liked a lot of the stuff he was trying, and you're spot on.
It's experimenting.
Trying, experiment. I'm still going to pull the card of the length of his season, how late he was playing, all this stuff. I get it. Everyone wanted the number 1 pick to look like a superstar, but I thought, there was some good flashes with Risachet. Like a couple plays where he was just battling inside, finishing strong. He had a beautiful left-handed finish, like off the glass, where I was like, oof. And
yes.
He had a step back that I was like, gosh, if that fell down, everyone would have really hyped up your summer league a lot more. I think it's fine. The shot didn't fall a couple times. He took some attempts where it was kind of into the shot clock, but he took one like fade away in the corner that I was like, oh, that might be, we need to quickly
in that first game, clip. That like mid-range kind of turnaround, it was like, oh no.
It got read perfectly, and the moment he was turning around, I was like, please don't shoot it, and it just got smacked right back. But it was like 4 seconds on the shot clock. I get it, but yeah, that was the bad one. It's fine. He's fine. He tried a lot of stuff. I thought there was some good flashes. It's just going to be, I'm right there with you. I don't think that's the right role for him. Would have loved to have seen Buffkin with him. Would have loved to have seen Jurisic with him the whole time, but it's just tough. But I still like some stuff. Like, come on.
Like, that's fun. It'd be nice if
also,
the shot went in.
What do you what do you have to do to get an assist, Metcalf?
You got to make the shot.
Yeah, so
I'm not sure what else you could have done there. I mean, great handle, great handle getting into the lane, pushes early in the offense, forces the defensive rotation, little flare on the behind the back pass to the corner. Shooter misses.
He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. Needs to add some weight. Needs to get some reps. He'll be fine. He needs to get some rest first.
Yeah,
Needs to just recover. But I'm not worried. I think Hawks fans should still be excited.
Anything on Drosic? I thought he looked really, really good. They let him kind of play point. He was fun. The shot was still all over the place, but God, the playmaking was fun.
I was crushed when the injury came out because I thought he looked great. I was like, oh gosh, here he is. My knight in shining armor looks perfect. So, did they announce how long it is? He's not out for the year, is he? It's all a blur.
It's probably half the year or something. I don't know. Who knows?
He looks like a great piece for them.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
And potentially Bogdanovich insurance, yes, depending on how that goes in the future. But
there you go.
All right, moving on to the Miami Heat. They were fun. Christ.
Are you ready for the Khalil Ware apology?
He was really good. He's been really, really, really good. Now I will say that some of my gripes over his lack of passing and shot creation and inconsistency in drop coverage still popped up. But my God, his rim running, his patience finishing around the rim, his interior cutting, and then just all around rim protection was really fantastic. Definitely biggest miss for me this cycle. Already, I feel comfortable saying that he's been really, 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 really good.
Yeah, it's a tough one because there's going to be people miss. I think he looks fantastic. I also just could not be more of a fan of what he's going to.
Yeah, perfect landing spot for him.
He's going to learn some stuff that first month of camp from Bam that he's going to be like, what? And I just, it's a great fit. It's perfect for him.
And if he really does shoot at some of the too big stuff that they're going to be able to run in terms of, especially on defense with the rim protection and rebounding, it's going to be fantastic. And we're seeing Bam kind of continuously stretch the floor more and more too. So it's like, it could be really fun for them.
Yeah. It's a simple one. Yeah. I love what I saw from him. The Heat got a good one. I think I'm pumped for both parties.
Agreed. Pella Larson, Zion Pullen, Keisha Johnson, Isaiah Stevens. Any thoughts on them?
I've watched Pella for 4 years at Arizona, being an Arizona Wildcats fan. He looks the exact same.
Exact same. It's like 90% of the play is really good, and then that final 10% is a flip of the coin.
Well, he just has that one game that you're like, oh, whoa. Yeah. Like, he can really play. And then all of a sudden in the next game, you're like, what happened to that other guy? Yeah. And it just is, maybe that's good to have on your rotation because you're just like, hey, Pella doesn't have it tonight.
But yeah,
when he does have it, he's great. Yeah, exactly. Kishad looked fantastic. He will be on that roster.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying opening night. I'm saying he will not be on a two-way for long. He will be earning minutes. He's too dynamic. He had a defensive possession in one game that I just was like,
oh, I think I
know undrafted. Like I was literally like, this is undrafted. Are you kidding me? Like it's just, there's just guys that play so many roles that we are like, well, he's 6'7". He's not the greatest shooter. I'm like, Kishad's a heck of a defender. He's a bully. He plays his heart out. Yes, this one for everyone watching. I mean, he's just all over the place. Like, this is just taking over a possession defensively by yourself. That's against Dylan Jones, who had a great summer league. Like,
then
switches on. Just like, it's just textbook. And I'm just like, that's literally going to, that's the type of play that the Heat will reward and be like, you're in the rotation. We're going to give you some runs. So I just can't believe he went undrafted. But there's also a lot of guys this year that I was like, man, just shocked that they didn't get drafted. So
Isaiah, and I really want to shout out Isaiah Stevens too, because some of the playmaking and shooting stuff that he showed is like, it wouldn't totally floor me if he finds a way to carve out minutes throughout the year. He was really impressive and someone I really underrated because I didn't think he was going to be big enough, and doesn't seem to be a problem. The playmaking that he showed throughout Summer League has been outstanding. I've been really impressed with him.
Duke and hoop.
Just
I mean,
so much fun.
He's at Colorado State, right?
Yep.
It's a blur, folks. I'm just trying to get back in the database. I was like, that's Isaiah Stevens, Colorado State. When I watched Neek, every time Stevens would make some plays, I was like, dude, this dude can just play. And so it's another one of those things of like, yeah, I understand why he went undrafted, but can play and isn't afraid of anyone. And I'm ready for the year, Metcalf, for the small guards to bring it back. I think this could be the year. We're it's going to change the world if it happens, but I'm so pumped for it.
First Kennedy Chandler, and now we're to Isaiah Stevens. All right, moving on to the Hornets. I believe only kind of notable name Tijane Salon, and he's fine. He's not ready for big time NBA minutes. I don't know. Nothing with him surprised me. He looked huge. He played really hard.
He has plays where he looks like rocks. They just need to play him.
Yeah.
Like, don't pull James Najee 2.0 and just like draft someone that has talent and not play them ever. I understand he was a stash guy, but I was also like, why did you draft him? I think Tijane just needs to play. They just need reps. And if you're playing him in the rotation early on just to build some confidence, fine. But I think he's going to be very fun. I also just think that's the type of guy. Summer League's a little tough to pop right off the bat, but like he had that coast to coast play, looked fantastic. You see why teams were intrigued with him, and you see why the Hornets are so excited about the potential. I would have loved to seen a lot more, but I like the flashes. I just kind of want to see how everything develops.
Agreed. All right, moving on to the Jazz. We got Cody Williams, Kyle Filipowski, Isaiah Collier. What stood out? I know we talked about them a decent amount with their kind of pre-Vegas games, but
you hit me. What do you got? You hit me.
I thought Cody looked much better. He looked more comfortable, and he just was playing simple. And I thought he looked really solid. I thought there was some good defensive stuff, some really good kind of second side creation stuff, especially kind of attacking closeouts, getting to the rim. The shot was better. It's really slow. He needs to speed up the release, but he's a long-term prospect, and those are things you expect to improve in time. So it was good to see him really kind of take a pretty meaningful step forward, I think, from their Salt Lake City games.
Cody got back on first half of last year. Cody looked good. Got a lot of work to do, but Cody looks like a get at 10.
Yeah.
So I'm pumped. I think he'll be too good for Summer League year 2 candidate. When I say that, he'll need to play, but it wouldn't shock me if he's a quick shutdown. Collier looks great. I think Collier looks just what you want for him, or like you're seeing the strides in the right places with his game. He's impacting without trying to be a focal point offensively. I think the playmaking's shown some good stuff. Filipowski took a while to get his groove, but then I thought he had was it a couple of late games, or was it the last game he had a great game? Those guys are all going to be good. I think those guys all have talent. They all got drafted. Cody at 10, I understand. But Collier, I still think should have gone a little earlier. I think he landed perfectly with Utah. And then still, me and you were cooler on Filipowski, but I'm still shocked he fell to where he did. So I think it's a great trio of guys that landed with a great organization that will be patient and let them find their groove.
Yeah, I thought Collier kind of looked... He was out of control a lot, but he looked motivated. He looked like, are you guys fucking kidding me? I fell this far, and I thought he competed more on defense than he did for most of the last 2 years. There are obviously some technical issues and inconsistencies, but I thought there was some really impressive and encouraging physical stuff on the ball. Some of the playmaking stuff, the highs were incredible. The lows were also pretty incredible, and he still isn't shooting it well, but it felt like the misses were softer, if that makes sense, where they weren't the like sailing over and hitting the far side of the backboard misses. They were, just barely bouncing off the rim or just rimming out. So I think he's trending in the right direction with all of that. Filipowski was fine. And I think he ended up getting up to like 38% from three across their 5-ish games. I still don't know what he is on offense.
I agree.
But
I always want to see those guys get better,
which he did.
He got better.
Exactly. Same thing as Cody.
I still don't know how he's getting like serious minutes early on. And of course, he's probably not as a second rounder, but you know what I'm trying to say. I don't know how he's getting that unless they move a ton of pieces, unless they blow it up with the Laurie trade. Maybe they do, but I still think there's plenty of guys we'll probably talk about tomorrow that I'm more intrigued with moving forward than Filipowski at this point.
Agreed. All right, moving on to the Kings. I think they'll be a little more prominent tomorrow when we talk about returners. I thought Isaiah Crawford showed some fun kind of defensive stuff. That's about it for me from the rookie standpoint.
I love you, Kings fans. I don't have a lot there.
Yeah.
I thought they looked fine. I thought the guys we'll talk about tomorrow look much more exciting.
Yes, definitely more to talk about there. Moving on to the New York Knicks. Now welcome to the Tyler Kolek hour. My God, that dude rocks. Oh.
It is amazing. There's your box score film difference debate. That dude looks exactly how, like, I think his first game, he didn't have, like, the craziest box score game, but, like, it didn't take long where I was just like, Kolek's going to be a stud for them. He's just such a good composer out there. He puts everyone in position to get, like, succeed. He knows how to play with feel and pace and knows how to play with the tempo of the game. He knows how to change the tempo of the game. Dude's going to rock as a change of pace guard. He's going to be fantastic. Then he had the game after he had a couple under his belt where he's just like, fuck you, let's go to war. But that's why you love Kolek, because like he can play whatever you need, and then all of a sudden he could just be like, looks like it's my time, boys, and gamer. Just a gamer.
He is so impressive. I will definitely take the title of the third best Tyler. But how effortlessly he was able to still get into the paint. It was the exact same thing we saw at Marquette. It's what we saw him do against Big East competition. It's what we saw him do in the tournament. It's what we saw him do throughout college. And then once he gets down there, incredible scoring touch, and then just immaculate vision and ability to create for others out of any angle, out of any situation. It's just easy for him. So it really wouldn't surprise me if he plays some like legitimate backup point guard minutes this year, because then even when he doesn't have the ball, he can just spot up. And he's a lethal. He shot like 45% from three, spotting up this year. So he's never going to be a big time scorer, but just facilitator, and kind of similar to what we talked about with Cam Spencer of just doing the right thing and knowing how to play. That's exactly what Kolek does. And I thought he looked incredibly impressive.
I will be shocked. Even with Tibbs being an anti-rookie guy, I will be shocked if he does not play rotation minutes early on. He's a Tibbs guy, and he will hit 1-3 to get the other team to take a timeout in front of the Garden and look at the crowd and just scream, and every Knicks fan will be falling in love. Like he's going to be that guy. Here's a draft think question for you. When you see a guy like this, like Kolek, that can get in the lane without elite speed, without athleticism, if a guy like that has just the fantastic touch, does it make you kind of rethink that worry? You know what I'm trying to say? Like guys like that,
like in terms of scoring.
Yeah, like if you're like, hey, well, he's not the best athlete or he's not the fastest, but it's like, yeah, but you can be smothering Kolek in the lane. He can slip past you, and then he just has fantastic touch.
He shot like 70% at the rim. It's like cool, and on volume, and he gets there whenever he wants.
That's the point. That's
talked about
exactly
it.
what I'm getting at. Go ahead.
We talked about it after the combine. He had the exact same max vertical as Isaiah Collier. It's like,
I just think there's guys like that we overthink, and I did it. I was a little guilty. I cooled a little bit on Kulik towards the end. I still have him in my first, but I was like, I like him, but am I starting to get away from it? And then one game, I was like, I'm an idiot. But I just think there's always times where, like, if you can pair the fantastic touch with, like, Kolik's a guy you can just be like, you have him shut down for 99% of a drive, and then all of a sudden he just like little quick shoulder fake, and that's all he needs. You're just like, how did I had him locked down? How did he get by? And
he has that Nash dribble just
yes,
to perfection, where he just keeps it alive, and then just whatever he wants to do with the ball with his left hand, he's going to do it. He's just a magician. Pacome Dadier looked incredible in their first game. Really impressive kind of passing feel, off-ball offensive creation, cutting, some really impressive defensive stuff. Unfortunately faded kind of game by game, but overall I'd be really encouraged about him. He is another one of these guys where he's not a this year guy necessarily, but year 2, 3, 4 kind of guy where it's like, all right, now how are you making your impact? And I think he showed enough versatility and kind of flashes throughout these games to be really excited about him long term.
Yeah, I'd be pumped. I think even year 2, that could be a big leap.
Yeah.
He showed his youth as the games went on. He also showed the upside. You should be pumped if you're a Knicks fan. I thought that was just like AJ Johnson. Very smart to get him in the first. It's going to be a fun one for year 2. I love Pacome. I think there's a ton of tools to unlock.
Yeah, and then just because I'm the resident Hook Porty fan, I thought he looked great. Really good hands, really good rim runner, solid defender, showed some passing stuff out of the short roll. It wouldn't totally shock me if he finds a way to kind of solidify a spot on this roster.
They're going to have to find someone.
Yeah.
We talked about that. That was a very calculated pick. I think they moved it a little bit to get that pick.
Like I think there's some like Kmart Hartenstein in there,
which is fine. Like if you could get that at the end of your roster, you're like,
yeah, especially given the way the rest of the lineup looks. Fantastic.
And he's big and can play defense. Like I think you're onto something there. It was a nice. I liked that pick. They made that pick on draft night, I was like, that's one to keep an eye on. That might be a sneaky ad. So
yeah,
well done, Metcalf.
It was encouraging.
NBL guy, Tyler Metcalf.
Look at me. Who would have thought? All right, moving on to the Lakers. Bronny James, Dalton Connect. Connect got hurt after a couple games. Bronny also got shut down after his solid game. Thoughts?
Bronny got better.
He did.
I don't mean that in a bad way. Bronny got better. It was cool to see him have that one game where it looked like
started making
had a couple.
Shots.
Yeah, he struggled with a couple games just finding the shot. Then he finally had that good game, and I was like, good for you. Connect, I thought, got better as Summer League progressed. He'll be fine. I'm not worried about Connect. I'm pumped to see Bronny got better. That's all I got about those guys.
Yeah,
probably more excited about tomorrow's episode for the Lakers, to be honest. I'm really pumped about tomorrow's episode. Really, really pumped.
I think it's important to note with both those guys that they got significantly better the more off ball they kind of got moved. And I don't mean to, I know that kind of sounds rough, but they're two guys who need a point guard or a creator on the floor with them. And when you think about them with the Lakers, I don't think Bronny's really going to be playing any meaningful minutes this year. But with Connect, you have him spotting up and running off screens, playing off of AD and LeBron. That's where he's going to thrive. And then with Bronny, he's just not ready to play point guard yet. And we saw in that last game where he started making some shots, started getting to some of his stuff and scoring a little bit. He was always kind of curling off screens or running the pick and roll or having a screen involved and not having to create everything for himself or for others out of nothing. I think when you're able to kind of put him into more structured environments like that, he's able to kind of maximize what he's capable of doing a little better. So it's good to see him get better. I thought the defense throughout all the games was solid. The passing, the shooting was obviously a struggle. The passing wasn't where it needs to be, but hopefully he spends a lot of time in the G League and just gets to play because that's what he needs right now. All right, moving on to the Magic. Tristan da Silva, I think, is the biggest name here. Feeling very good about that ranking. He looks incredible.
Orlando. That dude took about 3 minutes of summer league, maybe less, and I was just like, "Oh boy!" I think he was one. I thought he was one of the best guys at summer league.
He was incredible.
He landed in a perfect spot. He just understood like how to play his game. He looked like a guy that got out there and he's like, "This is great. This is fun." He moved off the ball. He took the shots when they were there. He made some really like catch and shoot guy. He's just a smart player. Like, let's stop fucking overthinking older guys. These guys can help you. And so I just loved what I saw from the Silva. He's going to be perfect. I think he's going to play early for the Magic. I'd be pumped out of my mind if I'm a Magic fan. Just be pumped out of my mind. And yes, because of what we're going to talk about tomorrow, they're cooking. They're cooking right now. I'm very excited if I'm an Orlando Magic fan.
He was lethal from the corners. Like, even just adding him as like an extraordinary corner 3-point shooter is a huge upgrade for this rotation. And you think of him just spotting up in the corner, playing off of Paolo, Franz pick and roll. And all right, now you got Da Silva in the corner instead of Markelle Fultz. Not a bad upgrade. And plus, Jet Howard if he plays, and Jalen Suggs with his improved shooting. And it's just like we said it all draft cycle. In my mind, he was the easiest plug and play guy into any team. No matter, he could have gone to any of the 30 teams and have been like, God, love that fit. Great pick. He defends, he passes, he makes the right decision, and he knocks down shots at a really high level. He looks fantastic.
He was the easiest evaluation I had.
Yeah.
Like we talked about it. Like people were like, I don't see it. I'm like, how do you not fucking see it?
He's good.
Like I'm sorry. I was just like, how do you not see it? I get if you're like, hey, I wouldn't take him that early. Fine. I get it. I would have taken him lottery, slept like a baby. Because it's not just a shooting Metcalf. Like he can impact the game without being red hot from outside. Like he's a smart player. They're going to have so many high feel good IQ guys to put around Paulo and Franz. And Paulo's a playmaker and Franz knows how to be a playmaker. It's coming together for them fast. I love what I saw from some of their guys we're going to talk about tomorrow. And I just think Da Silva is the type of pick that if you're a young team that's on the rise and you're trying to contend, you take Da Silva, you are now contending like every year because you're just taking that next step forward. A lot of teams, when they're like, oh, hey, we might be contending for the playoffs, we're on the rise, feel like they swing really big to be like, let's chase another star potentially to add with what we got. I thought Orlando was one of my favorite draft picks, was getting Da Silva, because that's just a smart move of like, we've got something going already. Let's keep it moving forward. Let's get some more momentum. So if we want to talk about him for the next 5 hours, I'm game.
We might just talk about him again tomorrow in tomorrow's episode. Yeah. All right. Moving on to the Dallas Mavericks. Only name Melvin Ajinça, and I don't have much to. He looked like Melvin Ajinça.
Yeah. Are you throwing curveball pronunciations at my way now? So now it's Ajinça. It is Ajinça.
That's how all of the broadcasters were
like that. We need to just. I like Ajinça. Ajinça sounds cooler. He probably shot 40% from deep if it was Ajinça.
This team was a disaster.
Yeah, it wasn't. The roster came out, and I was like, Mavs games might be on backup for summer league viewing. So I just. It was a he looked exactly what I expected.
It was a horrible setting for him to play to his strengths because he's purely an off-ball shooter at this point. There was zero on-ball creation from him, and it showed. And they didn't have a point guard or an on-ball creator to set anyone else up. So
I feel like the Lively Summer League was like the first time the Mavericks Summer League team was exciting in like a long time. They for some reason have a weird history of like. I went one year and they were like down 40. I was like, I didn't know this was possible at Summer League. But yeah, I mean, Vajinka just looks like a guy that needs reps. I wonder if they're going to stash.
I bet he gets stashed.
I would be shocked if he doesn't.
Okay, moving on. I don't believe the Nets did not have anyone, correct?
They did not have anyone.
Perfect.
They have guys for tomorrow.
All right, so the Denver Nuggets, obviously highlighted by the brutal Deron Holmes Achilles tear, which just sucks.
Yeah, ultimate, just like why. When it got announced, I was like, why? I was like, don't say Deron. I saw Deron Holmes. I was like, no, Shams isn't reporting about Deron Holmes unless it's bad.
Yeah, I was on a flight to Denver, actually, for a wedding. And as the plane is landing, turn plane off airplane mode, first notification I get is Deron Holmes has torn his Achilles. I'm like, oh, fantastic. Sweet. Now we get to go sit in the rental car line for an hour and a half.
Nothing worse, by the way. Absolutely nothing worse.
Like, figure it out. It's not that hard. Trey Alexander, though, looked very good. And, this is a team that needs guard depth and guys to play. And he looked way more comfortable than I was anticipating. He looked very good out of the pick and roll, spotted up, knocked down jumpers, shot well. Isn't a big-time space creator. We saw that at Creighton where he struggled. But the craft, he falls out of his shot a little too much, but the craft, the ability to kind of get to his different spots, just make those kickouts. I thought Trey looked very, very, very good.
Yeah. Love Trey. Pumped he went there. Probably another guy that maybe there was some steering towards making sure he can go to the Nuggets. I'm excited that he landed there. I think we've liked him. I probably was too harsh on you, Trey.
Yeah.
I cooled down on him. I understand, but there's still a lot of talent to work with. Another guy, I was like, oh, come on, Trey should have gotten drafted. 6'4" with versatility. I think in a different role, there's a for sure chance he could succeed. So I liked what I saw from him.
Yeah, and I think it's a really good landing spot for him, especially long term. All right, moving on to the Indiana Pacers. We have Johnny Furphy. We have Enrique Freeman and Tristan Newton. What stood out?
Probably Furphy to me.
Yeah.
Looked a little bit more like the Furphy that was cooking, that we were very intrigued with at one point of the season, that we thought was like, oh, here's the party crasher before he cooled off. Not talking about percentages. I just think he, like the way he was playing off the ball, he was moving, catch and shoot guy, battled inside for a couple of bit. I think he looked good. What about you?
Yeah, he looked more like that 3-and-D kind of guy that we saw in January. Not quite as prolific shooting, but similar impact, where when the entire defensive scouting report is engaged specifically to him and he isn't the only perimeter scorer, he can be that awesome kind of outlet. And we saw it in transition. He rebounded well yet again. I thought the defense was fine. So as a 3-and-D, potential 3-and-D guy who long-term is playing off of guys like Halliburton and Nemhard and Jarris and Mathurin, I think he's a really fun, intriguing piece. I thought Enrique Freeman looked really good. Sorry to kind of keep pushing that propaganda, but we saw him shoot it. I thought the defense was really good. The rebounding was super impactful, a little sloppy with ball security and passing and that kind of stuff. And I'm not sure he really actually gets any minutes this year, but I think he's going to be an NBA guy for a while.
Yeah. I thought Enrique looked like he looked better than the numbers would tell you, and it also looked like a guy like this could be a sneaky guy that plays in the G League, and then all of a sudden the Pacers are like, we really like him, and someone might get banged up, and then they give him some shot, and they're like, oh, he's doing good stuff for us. He just looked like he also looked like a guy year two might be like, Freeman's in the rotation. Like, just takes a big step. I'm going to be intrigued to kind of see. Furphy could be having some fun in Fort Wayne this year.
He does not feel like a Carlisle guy.
No, he doesn't. It was also amazing, Carlisle doing the in-game interview. They're asking him about Jarris. You could just tell Carlisle looks like he has a very straight line to walk if you're a rookie. So it's just like, yep, that makes sense for Rick. Yeah. So I'll be interested to kind of see Furphy's plan, but a lot of those guys makes sense to get some run in the G League, let their bodies fill out. But I like the trio. I think they all showed some flashes. They all showed some good stuff.
All right, the New Orleans Pelicans. He's Missy, Antonio Reeves. I thought this team was a mess too. I thought they struggled. I thought we got some flashes from Missy. I think we'll dive a little more into them tomorrow with Hawkins. Reeves kind of struggled. Not to a point where it's like, God, he sucks, but like would have been nice if you were a little more prolific from three. Missy, I thought he was really active, really athletic. A lot of the stuff that we saw at Baylor, some really intriguing footwork stuff. Dropped a lot of alley-oops, dropped a lot of passes, still super raw. I worry about them going into the season with him as their starting center.
I'm terrified. Terrified.
I don't know how you do it.
It's not like he's more advanced defensively. Like if he was very defensively advanced with that frame, I'd be like, okay, fine. He's a little more raw offensively. You're thinking maybe DeAndre Jordan impact early on.
Yeah. And there are flashes of really good defense, but there's nothing sustained.
It just seems a little bit trying to throw someone into the fire too quick that I'm like, oh, like it's in the horror movie when you see someone walking in the wrong room and you're like, don't go in there. I would love for them to get a vet to just kind of help them out. I don't know. It's just a lot of flashes that you really like, and then you're like, where was that flash? Can we get that back? And you're like, it's been 2 games. Why can't we get that flash back? So I don't know.
I think long term, again,
Awesome.
long term, there's a lot to be really excited about. But if he's going to be put in the starting position right off the bat, I think that's really playing with fire in terms of ruining his confidence and putting him in position to fail. It'd be great if they brought a vet in. I don't know who that would be unless there's a Brandon Ingram trade in the near future, but who knows? Okay, let's move on to the Pistons with Ron Holland, Bobby Klintman, Dennis Jenkins. Where do you want to start?
What did you think about Ron?
He looked the exact same. I thought the defense was better. The shot was all over the place. I thought the at-rim finishing and scoring and rim pressure stuff improved throughout, but
he got better.
It was all very one speed, one direction, very little scoring craft and creativity around the rim. It was just a lot of driving straight into the defender's chest and throwing it up. As the games went on, he started handling the contact better, which was really encouraging. But it seemed like he made every single shot attempt about as difficult as humanly possible.
I thought he got better. Thought he ended Summer League like on the right note, just like progressed in the right direction. Defense, I think I'm right there with you. Like showed some better flashes to me. He had. It is weird because he does have some shots where you're like, man, he really made that difficult. Like he had one coming across the lane where I think he ended up taking like it was either free throw or like elbow. And his body was going away, and I was like, you really made that shot difficult. The one game he had where he had those 3 drives. He had like 3 drives it was like someone trying to draw a foul. And he didn't get called for any of them. Someone on the other team like had him it was like hell in a cell. Whoever that was literally like, I'm having the best defensive out of body sequence of my life. He just was like, it's just one of those things where guys just like, I can read you perfectly. I think Ron got better. That's the most important thing. I'm really interested to see how this works out for the Pistons with him and Asar. But I will say I thought Ron progressed and definitely got better as Summer League went on. I'm not being a hater. I'm just saying like there was a game where I was like, okay, come on, man. Like you got to try something else. You're trying to get the bailout call. It wasn't working that game we're talking about. And then I think he, like you said earlier, I think he started playing a little bit more with contact. He tried, I think he had a poster dunk on someone. Like you started to
Yeah,
see
he
the
did.
flashes. So
Well, and
I
I
get,
think we started to see a little more of stuff like this where he's cutting off ball, really good baseline
yeah,
cut. Um, and that's just kind of been stuff that he hasn't really been asked to do a whole lot. But I think when you're playing off of like a Kate Cunningham pick and roll, the more of that kind of stuff that you can do, the better. And we saw that kind of throughout the games where he just started kind of playing a little more simple, handled contact and physicality a little better. So again, year two, once he gets 10 pounds stronger and has a year of kind of acclimation to the NBA size and physicality, I would imagine he looks a whole lot better comes summer league next year. But he's going to get a ton of reps this year and hopefully mostly in that off ball role. And it's just how I just need the decision making to just kind of speed up a little bit because there'd even be times where ball would get kicked out to him in the corner. He would, pump fake, not go anywhere. Defender would close out. He would pump fake again. Defender would just kind of inch closer to him. And then it's like once the defender's in his face, then he put up the shot. I'm like, let's just shoot it.
yeah.
Like, who cares if it goes in at this point? Just shoot it. So that'll come in time. But agreed. He game by game, steps were in the right direction, handled contact a lot better. So that was really encouraging. Bobby Klintman, I thought, looked really solid. I thought some of the defensive stuff was good. The off-ball movement, connective passing was all really solid. And if he knocks down shots, it's kind of almost exactly who you want playing off of Cade.
Bobby looks like he could get some minutes. I was pleasantly surprised with him. I think he's kind of, you know what it is, Metcalf? I think he kind of has bought into what he's going to be. Like, I think that NBL season really was well for him because he's like, I'm going to be a 3-and-D guy with my size. And the 3-point shot was falling. You also continue to see the playmaking flashes. I think he could be a great value for them. They need shooting. He can shoot it. He loves to shoot it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, you need a confident shooter out there. So I like the Bobby pick. I think he looked really good at Summer League. I think it's a good addition for them.
And I just want to give a quick shout out to Dennis Jenkins, friend of the program.
Dennis looked good,
he looked fun, man.
He looked good.
The shot was kind of inconsistent. Scoring was a little inconsistent. He had at least one big scoring game. Playmaking was really good. Defense was really good. I'm not sure if he sticks with the Pistons necessarily, but I would imagine he, at very least, has a solid NBA career where he might be bouncing around a little bit, but I think he proved that he can play. So
he could play. Corey, he gave me a little hat tip to him, like middle of draft cycle, and I was watching him. I was like, this dude can play. Like, it's nice. So he's a hooper. I hope he sticks there. They need talent.
Agreed. All right, moving on to the Toronto Raptors. Jacoby Walter, Jamal Shed, Jonathan Mogbo, Ulrich Tromsky. Kind of a fun group, a little chaotic. Not a whole lot of consistency, but nothing. I didn't walk away from watching this team with any revelations necessarily.
No, I wanted Jacoby to do a little more. I think he's going to be great for the 905 this year. Chomsky should be pumped.
I think Jacoby's going to get minutes.
Oh, come on. Really?
Who's their shooting guard?
Grady?
Yeah, and after that?
Anyone that can score?
I mean...
No, I get it. Jacoby should be, if you can get him rotation minutes this year, you're going to be doing a lot for him. He needs to just simplify everything and then spend the whole offseason working on handle, working on taking contact. Just, it's like a computer that needs to get rebooted. You just need to go from the ground up and then slowly start like powering back up. Because I think sometimes he tries to do too much. I'd love him to just be a 3-and-D guy early that doesn't try to do too much offensively. So I like that. I think Shad's still going to be a fun one for them. Go ahead.
Just circling back to Walter real quick. I mean, when you kind of think about the last year and a half for him, it's been a lot. It has been a lot where, I mean, senior in high school, he was kind of just like this 3-and-D-ish combo guard. Went to Hoop Summit, went to McDonald's All-American, and came out of the gates like a bat out of hell with Baylor. And, after we saw him at Hoop Summit, we are like, all right, maybe this could be a big time sophomore breakout. And then first couple months at Baylor is like, holy crap, could this be the number 1 overall pick? He looks incredible. And then his responsibilities on ball, he was starting to be asked to do so much more than he ever had, and against tougher competition. And that's a lot. It had a big time program, and then the shot went away, and then the handle, the issues with the handle kind of got exposed, and the defense got worse, and it just kind of all snowballed. So like you're saying, if he can just kind of take a step back and just simplify the game again and do less to rebuild that confidence, rebuild that effectiveness, I think that'd be huge for him.
That's a really good point. I mean, roles have been asked of him. It's like an NFL QB that just keeps getting a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So he's been asked to change a lot lately. That's kind of why I'm just echoing what you're saying. Like, just simple. Make it simple early on. Figure out what you want him, figure out what he can be, and just let him try to be that, and then have a foundation to build off of. So, who else do you got thoughts?
Shamshi was encouraging. I thought he still has no idea what he's doing out there. But some of the raw flashes, some of the defensive rotations, he made a couple passes. So we're like, ooh, that's fun. Long term, the swing makes sense, especially where they made it. So I think he was intriguing.
For sure. I think that's a great swing. Let him play as much as humanly possible for the 905 this year, and you might be shocked at Summer League next year. He has the talent. It's just time. It's the good ingredients. You just need to let it simmer in the crock pot. You just got to let it unlock a little bit. So I liked what I saw from him. Go ahead.
No, he just has no idea what he's doing yet. He's so raw. But someone who does know what they're doing is Reed Shepherd with the Houston Rockets. And oh, buddy, is he the best player in this draft?
I was waiting all day to tell you that. Gosh dang it, you son of a bitch! I was like, I'm gonna hit Metcalf with a hot take, and you fucking. Right now, yeah.
Holy shit.
I went back and watched his stuff preparing for this today. And it's just like, this guy looks a lot different than everybody else. Him and De Silva. But Reed was just making some play. You know what it is? One, watching... Well, let's just really overreact to Summer League. Watching him at Summer League, you quickly got the understanding of the guys this year that were saying, I see a lot of Steve Nash with him. And then it's everything evaluating him this year. I'm not I always get to a point with guys like this where I'm like, if you're a deadly shooter, and it's why I moved Reed up at the end. I was just like, I'm betting on Reed. If you're a deadly shooter with high feel and high basketball IQ, and you battle and you're smart and you can put teammates in the position to succeed, I don't fucking care about your measurables. I just don't unless you're 5'8", yes, I get it. But if people are like, hey, he's 6'2", he's not 6'4", okay, fine. He's shot unbelievable from outside. He's deadly. He's just tremendous feel. He's so good, Metcalf, at that initial screen. If he can if you get stuck on that screen, you're screwed. Because he just gets to that elbow and pulls up, and he's like, okay, swish. He's got great touch. Like we talked about Tyler Kolek earlier. Another guy, just great touch.
And he still isn't strong enough or has really figured out how to put guys in jail yet. And once he does, my goodness.
You know what was funny is I went back and watched the T-Wolves game, and Dyson Nix was battling with him defensively. He was giving him and it was tough because I was like, he's got that size advantage, and Nix looked determined to kind of prove himself. Mm-hmm. And Reed just kept giving him like a slight hesitation at the last second and then just be like off the glass or just like a pull up. And Knicks would look around like, what the fuck? Why can't I get this guy? So he just looked unreal. And it's just the guy that understands how, I think getting to your spots and understanding how to get there and how to work to get there is so important. And if you can do that with being a deadly shooter, with also understanding when that attention then comes, you can dump off and make teammates better. Like, I think Reed could be rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Even with that team, I think you're going to have to find a way to get him on the court.
And I think he's just gonna be their backup point guard. I think it's that easy. And what's so incredible about all this is that he's not even a score or shoot first player. Like
he's a hooper.
Most of the time, he's looking to create for everyone else. Yep. And there were a lot of times where he would like pass out of a mid range pull up, where it's like, bro, like the closest defender is like 5 feet away. Just take the shot. It's like, nah. It's like,
he just takes what you give him. Like, that's why it's so deadly, that high on-ball screen. He comes off that, and he's just like, you're going to give me this elbow jumper? Like, okay, that's fine. Or he makes a beautiful read. It's just, you can't do that to him. And if you go under, he'll pull it, or he'll make the right read.
From the logo, consistently.
And he's got touch on his floater. He's got good feel around the basket. He's got great vision. It's not... He's going to be a problem for vets, too. Like, he's just, you have to get creative with him. And that's where I see the Nash stuff, where Nash was so good at coming off that screen where you just, okay, it's the Chris Paul thing. Like, you know how to get to your spots. And now you also pair that with the deadly 3-point shooter, and you're just like, so I thought he looked awesome. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, just the one gripe with him for me is same thing as college. There's zero physicality to his game on both ends of the floor. On defense, he makes up for it a little bit because his hands and timing and instincts are so freaking good. And he's just not strong enough on offense, but it's almost like 99% finesse based, which is fine. This isn't to detract from him as a player. He was incredible. And like you said, I wouldn't be shocked if he wins Rookie of the Year. I'm just saying. If we're going to nitpick something, which I feel like it, because why not? We're an hour and a half in. So much for making these episodes shorter.
That's it. Basketball to stay sane right now. No, I get it. I think though he's shown the willingness to like kind of let guys hover on him in traffic. When he gets to the point where he can battle with people when his body fills out a little bit, then he's going to be just a nightmare. But I think he's just so good with the hesitations, finding those little windows to attack. And, man, he just looked really, really good. I'm pumped to see what he can do with this Rockets team.
Yeah, like this one.
That's great
exactly, like, this is exactly what you're talking about. But, like, you know, most guys at this point, you know, throw their butt or hip into Carrington recovering here, you know, create that little separation, put him in jail. He doesn't quite do that, but he's such a good shooter and so quick that it doesn't really matter, at least at this point. You know, eventually he's going to have to figure that stuff out, but the kind of hesitation to kind of get rid of Sarr comes off the screen nicely to kind of get rid of Carrington. Carrington still gets a good contestant here, but it's just like what you're saying, like where he's fine with them on his shoulder, but doesn't want to really initiate that contact to then further separate, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And the hesitation is to create
right there
to get Sarr out of there, because if he doesn't hesitate there, Sarr could still stay up and impact, and he won't have that jumper.
It even throws Carrington off a beat too.
Yeah, right. And he had that, like, he had so many plays like that. They were awesome. He also had a big had the ball like in the elbow or something, and Reed couldn't have been more wide open in the corner. And I was like, oh my gosh, throw the damn ball, please. He's wide open for 3. And the pass got there late. Guy closed out, and Reed just was like pump fake, one dribble, corner, jumper, swish. I was just like, he's gonna just pick people apart because he understands where to get to his spots. So, and he's not a force guy, which I love. Like, he's just like, create my opportunity, and he'll pick you apart. So
Yeah, it's like it's just like a flow chart of decision making in his mind, but it's like it's processed at light speed, where it's all right. Defender does this, then I do that. Defender does that, then I do this, and it just all flows from there. But he's doing it at light speed. It was so much fun to watch, and for it to just translate immediately, and all of the fucking Reed skeptics who are like, "Hey, he sucks. He's tiny. He can't. Is he really good? Going to be that good of a shooter? Oh, he can't pass." It's like,
And
so much for that.
just imagine when he starts learning at NBA defenses and offenses, and Fred VanVleet's going to teach him some shit right away. Like, it's a bad man loading right now. He's going to be very fun. Like year 2, year 3, Reed. Oh gosh,
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to the San Antonio Spurs. We can be real quick here. We talked mostly about Castle in the preview episode. Got shut down after one game. I think injured his wrist or something. Looked fantastic again in the one game he played against the Trailblazers. I still feel very good about him at 1. And then Harrison Ingram was all summer league. I thought he slowly got better, but
yeah,
he has to knock down his shots.
Yeah, he has got to. Harrison will be fine. I'm sorry, Spurs fans. I think Harrison's going to be what Spurs fans wanted City Sissoko to be.
Oh, that'll be a conversation for tomorrow.
Yeah. Castle looks awesome.
He's so good.
Castle and Reed, I think, look fucking fantastic. I could not. If you are a Spurs fan and you are not pleased with Castle, good luck. Good luck. Nothing for you. He just looks fantastic. I mean, some of the throws, some passes he's making. Metcalf's showing this corner, like that off is not an easy pass and not an easy look.
It's just right on the money too. It's absolutely perfect.
He threw like 4 passes during the California Classic that I was just like, holy crap. Like the guy wasn't even to the spot yet on the opposite corner, and Castle knew where the ball was going before he even turned his head around. It was a QB throwing a receiver open. I thought I talked about this before, but California Classic, he passed up a shot. They took a timeout, and I guarantee you a coach probably said, shoot the fucking ball. And he literally pulled the rest of the game. He's been pulling ever since. Not worried about percentages. I think he's looked like one of the best guys in this class at Summer League.
He looks awesome. And if you're looking for a more detailed breakdown of Stephen Castle's California Summer League games, head over to No Ceilings YouTube, and I add a little video up there, kind of going through his playmaking and pick and roll stuff. Okay, shamelessness over, or is it ever really over?
No, we can do all the plugs after an hour. We're plug city.
All right, let's move on to the Phoenix Suns. Oso Iguodaro and Ryan Dunn. 2 names to talk about. Either of those guys stand out for you?
I thought Oso looked good. I thought Dunn had some good defensive flashes. It's just, I still think both of those guys could play for this team this year. Like, just because they're going to have to, you need depth. I'm still very intrigued about getting Dunn on the court with all of that offensive firepower around him. That's going to be a very fun asset. I think people are going to sleep on the Suns this year. I think he's going to
play like small ball 5 for them.
Yeah, or they're going to put Durant at 5 and just say, screw it, Dunn, go defend every... Like, I think everyone's going to sleep on the Suns a little bit. I think Budenholzer is going to be fantastic for them. That dude can turn teams around fast. He's shown it, and they've got the firepower to do it. So I think Dunn's going to be good for them. I think Oso's a very underrated pick for them. I think he's going to be a really nice rotation piece.
I really liked how much kind of initiation they were having him do, he's just a lot of grab and go, just get into the offense right away. And he has the ball skills, the passing ability to do all of that. So I think they're fun. I thought Dunn looked exactly like he always has.
Yeah.
Really good defense.
Any offense.
Any offense is icing on the cake.
Any offense, but I still think it's a great pick to work with.
Agreed. Okay. The Oklahoma City Thunder, Dylan Jones, AJ Mitchell. Any kind of standouts for you?
Yeah, AJ fucking rocks.
He looks very good.
So good. I need people. I love Thunder fans. You guys are fantastic. One of my favorite fan bases because you guys are just all a joy to talk about and talk to. Respectful. Usually don't have much beef with you guys because you're just
Dylan.
all Dylan.
Fuck that
guy. Shout out Topic Thunder. Everyone was like, why did they take another guard? And my response was because they're fucking good. Just take good players and figure it out down the road. And when they got AJ Mitchell, I was like, this is another good player. You can never have too many good players. It's a great problem to have. AJ looks fantastic.
They're never going to draft for need, ever.
They're never. You should just go get your guys that you love and be like, okay, we have too many guys. We can make trades to move them around. AJ looks just like a potential another steal. He's looked awesome. So I love what I've seen from him. What about you?
Yeah, I thought both have looked really, really solid. AJ
I love
really stood out. Dylan's shot has been inconsistent, but a lot of the rebounding's translated immediately. And then just a lot of the on-ball creation stuff with him has been really good. Get into his spots, creating for others. But AJ's really, really popped. And if there's a team that's going to figure out the best way to maximize opportunities and playing time and, between the G League and the main team, it's the Thunder. They have years of experience doing it. So I don't think either of these guys are going to be consistent mainstays, but they keep those guys around the main team constantly. They interweave rotations constantly. So they'll be popping up here and there, especially when guys rest or whatever. But I'm intrigued to see just kind of some of the lineups they throw out there with them.
Dylan wouldn't shock me if he's playing.
Yeah.
Maybe not right away, but Dylan's offensive skill set with Mark running the wheel, like they're gonna create some fun stuff with him because of his playmaking ability, because of his size. I think those are just two fun pieces with real potential to help out early. So I'm right there with you. I think it's great pieces.
All right. The Minnesota Timberwolves brought in Rob Dillingham, Terrence Shannon Jr., Nadir Hi-Fi, the French Judah Mintz, and Jalen Clark. I guess is technically a rookie. Do you want to talk about Clark today or tomorrow?
Talk about him tomorrow.
All right.
Let's do this right. That was incredible. Let's do this right. I'm just going to tell you what I loved, and then you could give everyone the T-Wolves a proper breakdown. I thought Terrence Shannon looks like he's playing early. He looked... The first game, I just was like, oh. It's like, this dude does not belong out here right now. He just looks going at a different speed than everyone. He looked great. All right, you take over.
No,
what did you think? I mean, of everyone.
TSJ looked incredible. He was like, I have a point to prove, and just fuck everything that happened over this last year. He looked really good. The rim pressure, the athleticism, the transition stuff, the defensive stuff. He played, that ability to kind of simplify his game and play more off ball was really encouraging. But then also, create an attack downhill when the ball swung to him and get out in transition and add that athleticism is really, really exciting. So it's going to be, the efficiency and the effectiveness and consistency with him, I think is going to be up and down all year, but I think he's going to be part of this rotation next season because he just has an elite skill that no one else on the team outside of Anthony Edwards has. And that's the ability to get to the rim whenever he wants. Then Dillingham looked fantastic. The shot and scoring obviously wasn't where people wanted it to be, but he was doing so much more playmaking and kind of just initial offensive initiation and creation than what he did at Kentucky. And I thought it looked really good. there were some high turnover numbers, but some of the passes and the shiftiness and the pick and roll stuff where he's dragging out both defenders an extra dribble or two to widen the passing lane, and create that extra space for either the kick out to the opposite corner or the roller is really impressive stuff. So you give him a couple years behind, and he's going to be their backup point guard this year, but you let him, I'm talking long term, and be mentored by Mike Conley. Yes, please. Both these guys were really, really exciting from a Timberwolves standpoint.
Yeah, Rob ended up having a fantastic box score game towards the end, but I thought there was really good flashes from him. And I remember today, I was like, it was shocking to me at first how different him and Reed Shepherd looked, just kind of in terms of like comfort. But I also had to remind myself, Rob was out like 3 weeks without playing basketball during the pre-draft process with that ankle injury, which is important because you're not just working out a lot, you're kind of grounded. And I thought it just looked like he's taking steps in the right direction in terms of, hey, the offense isn't going. How else are you going to help us? All right, well, it's steps in the right direction. He needs to be able to play for the T-Wolves without dropping 20. He needs to be able to be on the court. So I think that was a good step in the right direction with the playmaking. I still like what I've seen from them. I just think Shannon and him are really nice pieces to add to the mix. So I think it was a good summer league especially with Rob ending on a high note in terms of box score. But I think Rob got better and clearly showed what we liked from him last year.
Yeah, and I think both those guys showed two very distinctive skill sets that the Timberwolves really needed. And the fact that it popped right away for multiple games throughout Summer League is like, okay, cool. Like we're going to be able to integrate you guys early and often throughout this entire season. So I thought those were two just massive pickups for them that filled, very specific needs. We just talked about how the Thunder are never going to draft for need based, but Timberwolves did in this case, and it looks like they hit it out of the park. Obviously, it's Summer League. We'll see how it translates. But I think, especially long-term thinking, it's going to be really, really important for them. Okay, let's move on to the Portland Trailblazers. Donovan Clingan looks fantastic.
Fantastic. He had like 2 straight games where he just could not stop pulling threes, and I was like, I love you for doing this, big fella. He looks fantastic.
I don't know where else to go with
it. Because trade and play him. Like they need to play. I know they'll be smart, but defense looks legit. Playmaking
passing is incredible.
Ugh, just looks like a stud, dude.
He's like some of the 2-man game stuff they're gonna be able to run with him and Scoot, him and Shaden, him and Simons. It's like, let's have some fun.
Yeah, him and Scoot should be very, very fun. I'm fine with him not playing Scoot. Everyone was a little like, why did they play? Everyone's fine. I know, but it's fine. I'm not worried about Scoot working on the game. Clingan, it's funny when you watch and evaluate a guy all year on film and then watch him, and then you don't, because the draft's happening and you're waiting for something like that to happen, and then you watch one game and immediately you're like, he's huge. And I'm like, I know he's huge, but why does he look 4 inches bigger on the court right now?
There've been a lot of guys. I don't know if it's the camera angle or what, but it's like, did he grow? I remember it being dwarfed.
Ricochet looked like 4 inches longer, but Clingan, I was just like, gosh, he's so massive. And it's not just his height. I remember Corey texted me after he saw Clingan in person. He was just like, that dude is so lengthy too. It's not just size. And you just saw that on some of these rejections. He's all over the place. I think he's going to be another stud. I think he was one of my favorite guys I saw just at Summer League. It's just now Portland's got to figure out the big man position. Clear up some playing time. But I love what I've seen from him.
Agreed. Well, a big man who I haven't exactly loved what I've seen is Alex Sarr with the Washington Wizards. We got Alex Sarr,
Wizards fan. I'm ready to go to war.
We got Kaishan George, where do you want to start? Let's start with George real quick. Shot looks awesome. Passing looks really good. I'm intrigued to see how they use him, but I think he's going to be just kind of a weird, easy fit, kind of with however they use him.
Shout out my new family as an honorary Wizards fan. Love you guys. I'm not just saying this because I now love you guys even more, but I thought Kaishan looked really good in terms of just flashes popping. Like you wanted to see that from someone that's potentially like a raw talent. He had a play where he like lost the ball after I thought he like rolled his ankle and came back and just had an emphatic rejection. I love people on YouTube could just see Metcalf's eyes lighting up, and you're the clip master. But I
don't think I have that.
Oh, you son of a gun. Okay. But it was fantastic. He had some good flashes. Just keep building on that. Keep getting him some reps. He's going to be a great one for them. What else you got? I don't know. Do you want to end on a high note or end on a low note?
You tell me.
I want to end with let's end with Bub.
Okay.
I don't think Sar was as bad as you're probably thinking, but I'm also leaning on the defense. I have to say the 0 for 15.
The defense was fine.
The 0 for 15 game, I have so much damn respect that he got to a point where he said, fuck this. I'm going to keep shooting until I make one. And I love it so much. It just is exactly what we've been saying all year. The offense is a work in progress. The defense is special. For the defense to pop that much at Summer League, I would feel optimistic if I'm a Wizards fan. You got to be patient with the offense. Yeah. They need to find him, and I don't mean to sound like a dick when I say this, so I'm sorry. They need to find him something super vanilla early to just build some confidence on. Because like early on in Summer League, he's just pulling from three. Then he kind of watered down on that. Like make him a rim running lob threat early on or something where you could just kind of install some confidence to then build momentum to work off of. But I love the defense.
The defense was very good.
I just think he doesn't know what he's doing offensively yet. He doesn't know he's trying to do too much, I think.
I thought my issue with the 0 for 15, obviously, that's rough.
Besides the fact he didn't make a shot.
And the 15 part.
I love the 15 part.
But it was more than just not making shots.
Okay, what is it for you?
It was the shot selection. It was the lack of shot creation. It was the decision making. It was the settling for really bad shots and these off-balance floaters where he's not strong enough yet to really turn the corner or create space getting downhill. He's not physical enough to do that kind of stuff. We saw that throughout the last couple of years of him playing. And he's more of this finesse scorer where so much of his scoring stuff was perimeter based. And with a shot that's that theoretical, that's tough. That's really tough because it's like you were saying, what is your go-to? This possession, you have to get me a bucket. Go get me a bucket. What are you doing? I have no idea. There's nothing that he could do. One. There's nothing that he could do right now that I would be like, all right, I feel good about that. And so many of those shots in that 0 for 15 were really, really bad shots. And a couple at the beginning were, pick and pop threes that were good looks. It just rimmed out. A couple of them were, where he hesitated on shooting it. Defender closed out, and then he shot it. But so many were where he was just like almost anticipating contact, and then the defender just kind of walled up and stayed vertical and didn't really create contact. And he throws up this wild off balance thing. I thought the offense for most of Summer League was really rough. And
I agree.
The complete opposite of what the defense was. The defense was was really, really good. And I don't want to say incredible. That's overblowing it a little bit. But the offense, I thought it was just flat out bad.
I agree. I completely agree. I know I'm having fun with 0 for 15. I'm more just proud of him that he was like, I'm not going to stop shooting. He doesn't. I think the first option for him is a pick and pop.
But he's not a shooter. He can't shoot.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And that's where you get to a point where you're like, well, you're not a shooter. And I don't know if it's a thing with him where, like, when we watched him against the Ignite in the beginning of the year, I feel like he would hit one, and all of a sudden it was just like, uh-oh, like, you just saw, like, someone giddy, like, okay, here we go. I'm feeling good right away. So I don't know if it's just like a confidence thing where that first one, it doesn't fall. He's like, oh gosh, what am I going to do? Because like I know it's against the Ignite. We watched that game. He was taking people off the bounce. He was put back incredible slams. He was like, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Summer League, it just looked like a guy that's like, I don't know what to do offensively. So that's where I'm saying they need to find something to make it simple early on. If you want to make him a rim running finisher, fine. If you want to make him a little mid-range guy, I don't know, fine. But it needs to be simple to find a foundation to build up offensively. Because if you can build up some stuff offensively, the defense is gonna be legit.
Yep.
Like it you just need to find a world offensively, and I don't love the idea of like, well, let's just lean on the 3-point shooting. I would want to be like, no, let's focus on something inside, but he needs time offensively. He needs to put on muscle. He needs you got to be patient. Like I've said this Wizards fans. We knew this was a project offensively. Me and you watched it. I was like, I struggled with him evaluating offensively because the flashes would be very come and go. And then you were just like, I don't know what he's doing in the half court. If it's not a rebound and a slam, or I was just like, I don't know what he's doing. Defensively, I'm very confident with Alex Sarr in the court. Offensively, a lot of the other options.
All right, let's move on to Bub. I thought he was really good. The pull-up shooting was really fantastic. I thought he was more aggressive getting downhill, still inconsistent finishing there, but I thought he was really aggressive. The playmaking was good. Defense needs work, but he competes on that end, which is kind of all you can ask for at this point. But I thought offensively he looked super comfortable. I would be really, really excited about Bub going forward.
Yeah, you kind of started that off, and I was like, whoa, I thought you were going to be a bigger fan of this.
No,
I thought he looked tremendous.
Yeah, I loved what he showed.
If you're nervous about Alex Sarr, I think you should be just as excited. It's the opposite of Bub. I thought he looked tremendous. He really looks like a holy crap. This could be a beast in the backcourt. Like he looks like a franchise guard for them.
Yeah, just like the change of pace type of stuff that he does out of the pick and roll. It just comes second nature to him. And the shot was inconsistent. I think it'll be fine. I thought he was one of the best kind of pull-up shooters in the country as a freshman this year, which was really, really impressive. So I think in time, the shot will be just fine. But it was more so the process of how he operated every pick and roll and every offensive possession that I thought was just shockingly comfortable for someone his age.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with saying like the franchise stuff. He looked way more comfortable than I was expecting for your first couple summer league games. He's going to have the growing pains this year because all guards do. But I think whatever they do with Brogdon, I think Brogdon would be a fantastic mentor for him. I'd love to put
Tyus.
Yeah, if they bring back Tyus, that's fantastic. I would love for them to put Bub and Brogdon's lockers next to each other, and please don't put Jordan Poole's next to his. So I really...
Him and Sarr can go talk in the corner about going 0 for 15.
That was a good one. That one was good. I like what Washington's doing a lot. I really do. I think they have a front office that looks like they know what they're doing. And I think Bub is... You should be very pumped. Bub's going to look incredible by year 2 or 3, and then Sarr's going to start coming alive, and you're going to be like, uh-oh, here we go. That's when Kaishan's coming.
And then you're adding Kaishan and Bilal on the wings, and they're building something fun long-term. They're going to be bad again this year, but you want them to, given Ace Bailey, Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, all these guys coming up. So I think the Wizards are in a good spot.
I don't even know if they got the first pick, like, who would I really be rooting for the Wizards?
Cooper.
But yeah, Cooper would be pretty fan. I know one thing, Cooper would help out the Sarr pick a lot.
the defense with those two.
Oh my gosh. And the positional
And Bilal?
versatility and
Oh
Bilal.
my God. Come on.
No, I mean, it's easy. I'm taking, but I also just I'm an Ace Bailey guy. So
I love Ace. But it's gonna be a fun year. But that's for a different time. Well, thank God we kept it short this episode and split it up into different things.
I was trying to pull a Bill Simmons with Ursillo and just keep asking you random questions to get it to 2 hours.
I'm not done yet. I'm not quite done yet. You beforehand, or when we were talking about this episode, you brought up picking our all rookie summer league teams. So I like this.
Are we gonna make it together?
No, or do you want to do that, or do you just want to draft each pick a starting 5 or whatever, and we'll go from there. We can just fly through it.
Yeah, I just don't want to. I don't have names in front of me, so go ahead. I'll figure it out. Go ahead.
No, I want to give you the first pick, and we'll go in whatever direction that you feel.
No, well, we're making our own teams here.
Well, if I pick someone, does that mean that you don't get them, or are we just doing who we thought were the best 5? So, we can't have overlap.
I feel like it's more fun for the draft of having one pick each. So, we'll make our own top 5, but we can't take the same players.
Yeah, so we're kind of imagining that these teams are going to square off, and
okay, so let's add 30 minutes to the episode.
So, no,
okay.
Well, you can.
No, we're not firing. Are you kidding me? We're not firing through this. Come on. Who are you?
I have
first
faith.
time.
Let's go.
All right.
So first pick. I'll be a gentleman and let you have it. Have I filibustered long enough for you to pull up a list of names?
No, I did not. But
cool.
It's okay.
Imagine if we just talked about these guys for 2 hours.
It's frustrating because I know I have a list of them. Anyways,
and this is going solely based off of their summer league performance.
Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll go Reed.
Yep. Okay. That makes sense. I will counter with Stefan Castle.
Okay, I'll take Tristan da Silva. I won already. We're having a great night now.
Oh boy. Okay. See now there isn't much on the wing.
Are we doing awards, aka NBA All Team Awards, where we don't have natural positions, or do we have to?
It's just your starting 5.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
So if you want to get weird, go for it.
You took Castle.
I'm gonna go with, number 1 in my heart, Khalil Ware.
I love that out of you. I really do.
He was good. He was really good.
Really good.
He was really good.
I'll take Klingon.
Okay, good counter. Oh boy, if I could type that help. Okay.
This is where it's gonna get a little tougher than you think. Then you're giving me crap. You were giving me crap, but it's gonna get a little tougher than we thought.
I feel like I'm gonna be missing someone super obvious. So just scrolling through teams here.
What the heck is my damn list?
Oh no, I had someone. Mine went blank. I'll go Modest.
Oh, that's a good one. See, I spaced on that one. Gosh dang it. Hold on. I'm trying to. Oh, I found it. Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
You took Modest. I'm gonna go Jalen Tyson.
Oh, good pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna put him at the 2.
Yeah, that's nice.
Sometimes I know what I'm doing, folks. Wait, so you got Castle, Ware, Buzelis?
Yeah,
Buzelis was a nice pick.
Are
you playing Buzelis at the 3?
Just not probably 4.
Okay.
That
was what I want you to say.
Well, we just play basketball over here. We don't confine ourselves to your outdated positions.
My team's on the floor.
Roles.
Go ahead.
I'm looking. Okay, I can move past the Mavs pretty quickly here. Oh God, this gets bleak pretty quickly here.
It gets tough when you're trying to fill certain spots.
It's not the best. I'll go TSJ.
That was a good one. I was trying to figure out how to squeeze him.
All right, your last one.
Why am I playing small? This really does get tough.
There are a lot of names, but not all of them played well.
No, there's a lot of names, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna play De Silva at the 4.
Okay, love that.
And I'm gonna put Tyler fucking Kolek at the 1.
God damn it. Oh, I thought I was gonna get away with it. Oh,
I just love that team.
Oh, I was 1000% gonna take him. Small backcourt.
Small.
God, Steph Castle. Steph Castle and Terrence Shannon are gonna bully you.
I don't care.
God, I love that pick. Oh boy. Okay, that threw a wrench in things. I thought you were gonna overlook.
I was gonna go Saloon, and I was like, I can't do it. Like I can't do it as much as I love it.
Oh boy. I don't like any of this.
It gets tough down here.
You know what? Screw it. We're gonna go super big, super athletic. I'm going Keyshawn Johnson.
That's a good pick. I was gonna do that. That's a good one.
So you ended up with Reed Shepherd, Tyler Kolek, Jalen Tyson, Tristan De Silva, Donovan Clingan. I went Steph Castle, Terrence Shannon Jr., Keyshawn Johnson, Modest Buzelis, Khalil Ware. Fun teams.
Two very different teams. Your team might not allow a point, but my team also gonna
well,
work.
if you're pulling from the logo, you know. All right. This was a blast. Thank God we kept it short. We will be back tomorrow talking about returners, some upperclassmen. Maybe we'll try and fly through that one a little quicker. Who knows? Fingers crossed. But he is Tyler Rucker. You can follow him at Tyler_Rucker. I'm Tyler Metcalf. You can follow me at TMetcalf11. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and 5-star rating. Till next time. See ya.